Hey, what's up you guys? Today we will be doing a voiceover video doing these nails. Now, the first set that I showed you was the ones that we're going to turn the nails into. And this is me actually drilling off the old gel. Now, my preference of drilling off the old gel is because I actually wear acrylic nails, and if I were to soak off the gel, it would affect the strength of my acrylic nails. So I'm just gonna go ahead and be quiet and fast forward this so that you guys can see my drilling technique and things like that, such as cleaning up underneath the nails. Always take the time to do that. And I drill this off in layers. I drill off first a little bit, which is like the top coat. Then I clean my drill bit and really get into drilling off the rest. As you can see by now, my drill bit is really dusty, and I'm really sorry for being out of frame sometimes. This is a secret that I discovered using any type of gel. You can buy it from the dollar store and pay like $1 because you're really just going to beat it up. And it gets into all the little grooves of your drill bit, and look at it. It looks brand new, and now of course I'm going to just completely destroy it once again. I'm going ahead, and this is where I go in and really get into the nooks and cranny of the color and just getting it off. Now my drill bit is on a high speed, but I'm taking it down really gently and not applying a lot of pressure to my nail. That is very important because you do not want to create what is commonly known as the ring of fire. If you are not familiar with that terminology, that is actually the ring where the drill has dug into or burned the nail underneath, and that's definitely what you want to avoid when doing nails. This is me cleaning off it once more, and now I'm going to do some cuticle pushing. I like using the side where I can really scrape back my cuticles, and you will notice I do not trim my cuticles. Trimming your cuticles, especially when you're doing acrylic fill-ins and things, can cause you to bleed and things like that. Now I'm measuring them and realizing that I need to cut them down, which I already knew because I trimmed down the other hand. And that is a clipper that I have had for the past 20 years. I just replaced the blade and absolutely love it. Now I'm taking my hand file, and I apologize again for being out of frame at any point in time because, well, usually you see my face and not just my nails. So filing with a hand file is very nice and very controlled, and it causes less damage to your nails because you are not going at a high speed, which I prefer. And actually I was taught with the hand file so many years ago because we didn't actually have the drill, and it wasn't like a normal type of tool that we used. This is me just dusting off, really scrubbing off the extra dust, because any dust that you have on your nail is going to cause lifting and things like that. Here is the nail dehydrator. It is by Kiara Sky Nails, and I'm just putting it on the exposed nail only, and this helps to dehydrate my nail from any excess oils and such that I might have on my nails. Essentially it's alcohol, and it's cleaning my nail bed for preparation for my Tammy Taylor primer. I've used this primer for well over a decade, and it never fails. I can use 2 little coats or 1 little coat, and it doesn't take much. I'm barely dabbing it on. This is another reason why you don't want to cut your cuticles before you do any type of nail procedure, because primer really stings when it gets into a wound, and if you're doing this on a client, you don't want to cause them any pain. So I'm just dabbing it on the exposed nail, and primer is essentially the glue for the acrylic. It helps the acrylic adhere to your nails, and you just give it a little bit to dry. That's the dap and dish that we're going to use, and that has Young Nails monomer in it, and this is Young Nails Cherry Blossom Cover Acrylic, which I really love these colors. These are some newer colors that they came out with, and I've just been playing it up with all of them. My dap and dish is not really a dap and dish. It's a dispensing type bottle, and it's glass, and this is the Young Nails brush that I'll be using, the artistry brush. And I really like the way it works. I also really love the number 8 Tammy Taylor flat brush. They're both really good brushes. And this is the bead that I'm taking, not too wet, not too dry, placing it just above where I need the fill, right on the acrylic that's already there, and patting it back towards the cuticle, then pulling it forward without using a lot of pressure. And I'm just cleaning up the side walls, and you want to keep like a little road around where your cuticles and your side walls are. Not a big road on the side walls nor near the cuticle, but you want to make sure that the product is not touching the actual cuticle, because that will cause lifting. Anywhere where it's going to touch your skin is going to cause some type of lifting, and that's something you want to avoid. I actually just kept going back and forth on this to show you guys what I was talking about. And then here I'm adding another coat of primer like I did before, and just wiping off any excess. That's why I really like the dispensary type dap and dish, if that's what you want to call it. And again, laying the bead right on top of the previous acrylic, and then pushing it back toward the cuticle. Remember, not touching the cuticle. You want to keep all of this acrylic off of your skin. I did this for a very long time, and I still do this. I do this to my nails. So this comes in very handy when like COVID hit and you didn't want to go out and do your nails. So I was lucky that I actually already had this skill set. Like I said, I've been in the beauty industry for quite some time. Here I am reloading my little dap and dish with the Young Nails monomer. This is a fantastic monomer. It works really well. Young Nails and Tammy Taylor nails are my two go-to type of nail products. Those are 90% of the time, maybe even 99% of the time, that's what you're going to see me use when I do my nails. Now I'm going ahead and notice how much comes out as opposed to what I actually leave on my brush. It's all about ratios, and people can talk to you about ratios when you're doing your nails and learning. They can sit there and tell you like it's a 1-to-2 ratio or 1-to-3 ratio or whatever, and you're not really going to know what the world people are talking about. Truthfully, as you go on in your nail adventures and your nail journey, you're just going to learn the feel of it and what actually feels right. And even now, I mean, I'm well over 20 years into it, and I still pick up a bead and I'm like, that's not going to work, and I will wipe it off on my little piece of paper towel, or I have lint-free wipes. Here's what I'm using. And I'm also touching up the edges. I do like to touch up my edges at times. I've had this set on for a really long time. You can see where the previous colored acrylic, it was glittery at the top of my nail was there, and it's like fading away and all this stuff because it's grown out. And so I do like to go in and reinforce side walls just as precautionary, because I am really hard on my nails and they are rather long right now, and with everything that I do, I don't want them to snap in half or anything like that. So I'm showing you each little area that I choose to touch up. This is just something I choose to do because I want to make sure that they are being held firm. It's a necessity, but it's also a choice. And now I am hand filing what little filing I need to do. When you lay your acrylic smoothly, you will have very little to file. I'm really just doing this out of habit and just cleaning up the edges and things. I'm really particular about how things are. I mean, naturally doing it for so long, I am very particular. And that's also why I don't like other people doing my nails. So I was showing you right there the little groove. I always try to keep the little groove or road or however you want to call it, the small space between your acrylic and your cuticle. You want to make sure that that is there. Next, I'm using the OPI buffer. I really love this. It actually makes the buffing process so easy and really clean and smooth. What you will notice me doing is I also buff underneath my nail as well, and the tips like this right here, because this helps. Even though I have this beautiful square, actually it's a tapered square nail, the tips of them, if I touch, like hug my child or do my daughter's hair or anything like that, it's not going to scratch them. And if you ask me, that's pretty important. So as I continue to buff this through, I really try to make sure that everything's really smooth and all of that. Even though when you reapply gel has a habit of filling in any nooks and crannies and cracks or whatnot. And it also helps to reinforce your acrylic nails. So that's the plus side of it. And the negative, I would have to say, is having to drill it off my nail. It's not as easy as just wiping it off. But it does dry really fast, and it makes that time frame where I'd have to let it dry, it makes it more convenient. Though I do put regular polish on my toenails because I do not want any type of drilling done on my natural nails, which are my toenails. So here we go, and I'm going to go ahead and just add some fast forward to this so that we can finish up the entire buffing section. Moving forward, this is me just buffing off, cleaning off with my little brush any dust that's around my cuticles and whatnot. And I'll go and rinse my hands off, but I don't want to add any oils just yet. These are the tools I'll be using: a cleaning tool and a striping brush, and my very well loved C&D Shellac Prisma light. Moving on to the Intense Seal by IBD, love this, and the C&D Shellac polishes, two of the ones that I'll be using, one in Cream Puff and then the other one is in Crimson. We are also going to be using some gelish polishes in the name All Eyes on Meena and Girl Meets Joy. Very beautiful colors. This is the green Lush Tropica Shellac that we'll be using as a mixing with other two to make the green that I want. Starting off with the crimson shade in Shellac, I'm going to color one nail. And the way I polish this is I make sure that I get right close. You'll see me wiggle. It looks like I'm almost shaking when I get close to the cuticle, but I'm not. I'm pushing it against that area and then bringing it around smoothly, applying a thin coat. Thin coats are very important in shellac because you don't want to build up too much on top of your acrylic, and we're blasting it or drying it for 1 minute. And after it's cured, we are now adding a second coat. Again, remember, thin coats with nice long strokes will give you the best application in shellac. After another curing moment for 1 minute, we're going to go ahead and get our acetone out so that we can start with the half nail. We're using our cleanup brush to make sure we get really crisp edges and everything looks nice and just clean. That's very important too. Some people choose to use alcohol to clean up. I prefer acetone because, much to people's not knowing, acetone is not really going to damage your acrylic nails as long as you're not using it in mass quantity at one time. This is really just cleaning up an area, and it's very easy, very quick. But if you prefer to use alcohol, go ahead. It does a very similar thing. I just feel like acetone works faster. I'm sorry that my camera sometimes gets bumped during this process. Again, this is kind of a new thing for me. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to put my nails on here. I've done it before, but I wanted to have a little bit closer interaction with my nails. So here I am taking the brush and I'm cleaning up just little areas that I didn't really like how they turned out. And I'm going to continue this on the rest of those nails and apply 2 coats and cure in between for 1 minute, and then we will continue on. Now, grabbing that top coat, we are going to go ahead and apply it to the nails that have the half nail and clean up around and then cure for 1 minute before we start our nail art on the solid nail. Now, while that is drying, we are getting cream puff ready, and that is going to be one of our lines. Notice that I wiped off most of it. I'm using the side of it, the skinnier side of it, to just lightly draw this line down the middle because I wanted a thicker line. Otherwise, I would have used a stripe brush, and you will see me use that in a few moments. So I'm making just like a little cross or X or whatever you want to call it across my nail. Now it does look very paint stroke-ish. By that I mean like with gaps and things, but I'm going to take the little liner brush and dip it into the cream puff color and get my brush coated. You will also notice that I use my C&D light as a almost like a painter's palette, wiping off little edges and such in the future. So right now I'm just tracing over it, kind of outlining it, giving it a more crisp look to it, more cleaner. Nail art, sometimes you need to really keep it clean. There'll be times when I show you like other tutorials where you don't have to be so neat and clean, but on these designs, these are more precise, so they require you to be more clean and neat in the way you are applying the nail art. Also, I did not put a top coat on this nail before I started applying the nail art, so keep that in mind. Top coat is like the finale. It's the topping it off. It's the end all be all. So you don't do nail art over top coats unless it's like rhinestones and things like that. And I can also show you guys that, how to do that and how to keep your rhinestones on as well. I'll show you that in another video. Now moving on to this gelish color. I'm going to be honest, I thought it was a black, and it's called Girl Meets Joy. But I originally thought it was like a black with some glitter in it, but I think it was placed in the wrong spot. Plus the bottle is kind of deceiving. So it's really, really a pretty dark bluish kind of color. And I'm using that to line the white. And as you noticed, I did use my light, as I had said before, to kind of wipe off any beads that may cause distortion in my lines. The thing about gel is gel does not actually dry until you cure it. Therefore, it's going to be more liquidy and more malleable to use. But it also means it runs easier than nail polish, because once you put nail polish on, it starts to dry once it hits the air. But gel's not like that. So you have to be more careful and more precise where you lay nail polish, whereas gel can kind of be worked around. Now we're adding this beautiful gelish polish, and this is All Eyes on Meena, and I really think I'm going to use this gel color in another tutorial when I do my nails again, because I absolutely love it. It's gorgeous. It goes on so smoothly. It's got just the right amount of glitter. I'm going to go ahead and just lay this line right off to the side. We're creating a little plaid look. And we're going to lay a line across. With laying a line across, you want to make sure you're keeping it kind of straight, paying attention to where you lay it. So sometimes you have to go from one side to the next or roll your finger. It just depends. When you're doing a client, you can often roll their finger and it doesn't cause them any pain or anything like that. But yeah, now I'm going to mix the color. I'm using the All Eyes on Meena color, and I'm using the Girl Meets Joy color, and then I'm using the Lush Tropica color by C&D. It's the bright green, and I'm going to mix my own green. I have always been one to really enjoy mixing my own colors, and for some reason I don't have a dark green. I'm going to have to rectify that situation, but yeah, I don't have a dark green or a Christmassy green or anything like that, so I kind of made my own by just continuing to mix and mix and mix until I got the color that I wanted. And then I apply it, accenting the plaid design that I already had, except I'm going to make the bottom line thicker. Top coating it off, curing it for another minute, and then it's done after that. Now this top coat does not require you to wipe anything off, so we're going to add some lovely cuticle oil. I can't ever answer, or not answer, but say the name of this cuticle oil, but it's really great and I absolutely love it. I love it in a dropper, and I'm just going to put it along all of my cuticles and just re-nourish them, because they've had a lot going on from the fill to getting the new design put on them. But I hope you enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit different than what I normally do, but yeah, these are some Christmassy fun nails with some shellac. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys.